Hi, I'm Anastasia Bartolucci with Point Click Shoot, and we're back with Reeling in the Stars. I'm sitting here again with Cassie McLean, who is telling us about her new book, Wingless Butterfly: Confessions of a Recovering Jerk Magnet. Cassie, tell us a little bit about your story. I know we discussed the jerk magnet concept, but why wingless butterfly?
I think everybody has a story lurking somewhere inside of them. With me, wingless butterfly came from a warning my mother gave me when I was very young. When I found out or recalled some certain events about my past and my biological father, she said, "He's the kind of man who pulls wings off of butterflies." And that's the opening line of my story in my book. And my mother never said anything without complete focus on what she was talking about. She was very well read, and she chose her words very clearly. And the secrets in my past have always intrigued me. But I think my mother's intent was to keep me from searching for my biological father, and that's exactly what they did.
But you finally did look for him. Why did you change your mind?
I did. After my mother died, my sister Bree was having some health issues, and she asked me to help her find our biological father so she could get a medical history.
So I take it you found him.
I did. It wasn't easy to track him down, and it was a very intriguing story that I found out. It unraveled a lot of things from my past and answered a lot of questions. And along the way, I found out I had 4 sisters and a brother I never knew.
So what exactly, because of that, prompted you to write this book?
Well, I was telling a friend about all the drama that was involved with the story, and he started laughing and goes, "That sounds like a Lifetime movie." And I thought about it, and I thought, you know, what better way than to maybe write a book and reach out to people, and maybe my story can be told and end up helping people. So I started writing, and the manuscript almost wrote itself. The serendipity of events that happened as I wrote the story were overwhelming, and my story just flowed like water. Sometimes I woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning and just wrote, and the next thing I knew, I looked up and it was noon.
So in referencing the manuscript, I understand that your first chapter won an award in the Atlanta Writers Club 2009 writing contest.
It did, and that's when I knew I had a story that needed to be told and that I was able to tell it. And so I started the manuscript, and I'm really hopeful that I can reach out to other people.
Now, Cassie, you've said that most of your life you've been insecure and inhibited, and the person sitting across from you right now is just the opposite of that. So why the lack of confidence?
Well, first of all, I was a middle child. I had a younger brother who was the only boy, and for some reason that was significant. And I grew up in the shadow of my older sister. So I always got hand-me-downs from my sister, when my sister and my brother would always get new clothes. So events from my childhood validated my insecurity. Also, I believed that my biological father threw me away. And when your own father isn't interested enough to know you, to find out anything about you, or to even look backwards, you feel like you're unlovable. When I grew up a little bit more and went to middle school, girls stopped talking to me. I started hanging around with the guys. That made things worse. So I didn't have very many girlfriends when I was in middle school and in high school. I was blackballed from the high school social sorority, which validated my insecurities even more. So I just grew up thinking that there was something defective and wrong in me.
And how did you become a jerk magnet?
Well, the girls really hurt my self-esteem. And honestly, I never thought of myself as pretty, but I guess my slender body and my long hair and my green eyes, it was apparently hard for a boy to look at me with his eyes focused on my face, let's just say that. And I was a pretty girl. So when guys took me out, they generally had one thing on their mind, and if I didn't put out, I was dumped. I got to the point where I tried to protect my heart. And instead of dating somebody that I knew I really wanted to be with, or somebody who I thought was special, I started dating people that I didn't care as much about, because I figured they're going to walk away from me anyway, so I might as well be the one to do it. I walked away from my college sweetheart, which was probably one of the biggest mistakes I ever made, and I went straight into the arms of jerks.
Sitting before me is an optimistic and confident woman, and from what I understand, you don't date jerks anymore. How did you make that change?
My whole life, the decisions I made were based on my frame of reference, what I believed to be true. And those facts I found out weren't true. So what I think I've found out through all of this is that we are what we believe we are. And I started believing that I liked the person who I was inside. I wasn't this meek little, intimidated, insecure little girl. I think I finally found my destiny and the person I was always meant to be. I started believing in that, and I started literally visualizing a stop sign every time I fell into old patterns. And eventually, my patterns started changing.
I mean, it sounds like an incredible story, but for most of us who grew up with a normal childhood, how can we identify with your story?
I believe that attitude is everything. Most little boys and girls dream when they're children, they dream of fantastic futures. The thing is, something happens to us along the way, and a lot of people just let life happen to them. I know I did. You know, my past will always be a part of me, but it doesn't have to define me. So I know that if I can do this, I'm hopeful that other people can hear my story and determine that they too have a chance to pursue their dreams and become whoever they want to be. And it's never too late.
So thank you so much, Cassie, for being here again. And please join us when we continue these series of unique podcasts. Again, I'm Anastasia Bartolucci with Point Click Shoot, and this is Reeling in the Stars.